Ever felt that familiar pang of dread before giving a talk?
Yeah.
Or maybe sat through one that felt, well, like a cure for insomnia? You're definitely not alone there. A study I saw found, get this, 63.9% of college students feel that fear of public speaking, and almost 90%. They actively want classes to get better at it. So today, we're on a bit of a mission. We want to help you turn that anxiety into maybe excitement and transform those forgettable talks into really impactful experiences. We're not just talking about giving a presentation. It's more about, crafting a narrative, designing for real clarity, and actually connecting with your audience.
Exactly. And this deep dive, it isn't just guesswork. We've pulled insights from scientific communication experts, academic research, even some guides on what not to do, which could be just as useful, right? We've distilled these down into proven techniques, things that can help make your next presentation, whether it's for your team or a big conference, really resonate.
Okay, great. So we'll get into structure, slide design, delivery techniques,
Right.
visualizing data so it actually tells a story, and handling that Q&A session like a pro. All right, let's kick things off with that first big piece, crafting your story. The structure we keep seeing is hook, problem, method, results, and then the so what. It sounds a bit like an essay, intro, body, conclusion, but with a strategic twist aimed right at the audience.
It really is strategic. Often people just jump in with, okay, today I'm talking about X. But the experts, they really stress starting with the why. Why should this specific audience care? And just as key, why are you the one telling them? Maybe start with a quick story, an anecdote, something real, then link it straight to your main point. That relevance hooks them immediately.
And that hook, it needs to land fast, right? Like first 15 seconds fast. We're talking a really compelling case study, maybe a shocking statistic, or a powerful image.
Yeah, or even just teasing something exciting they're about to learn. Give them a reason to lean in.
Okay, hook secured. Then you move into the problem and method.
That's right. A good presentation isn't just dumping information. It's about building a case with your data, telling a logical story. You need to be super clear about your goals. What does success look like here? And for methods, choose carefully. Especially in shorter talks, you just can't blast through everything. If you used a complex technique, take a moment, break it down for them, guide them through it.
Now, this is interesting. When presenting results, I always thought you just followed the timeline, background, methods, then the results. But you mentioned flipping that, an hourglass format. Tell me more about that. How does that help the audience?
Ah, yes, the hourglass. It's quite effective. Instead of building up slowly, you start with the main point, the big finding and its implications. Then you dive into the supporting details, the methods, the data, and finally you zoom back out to the bigger picture. It sort of primes the audience. They get the punchline first. So when you show the detailed data, their brains are ready to slot it in because they already understand why it's significant. It helps you, the listener, connect the dots much faster.
Ah, I see. So you give the context first, then the evidence. Makes sense.
Precisely. And that links perfectly to the idea of minimum essential data. Show just enough to be convincing. Don't flood them. For each bit of data, walk them through it. First, the setup or method. Then, the data itself explain the axis, what they're looking at. Then, what you'll learn from it. And maybe a hint about what's next. It keeps the story clear, prevents getting lost in the weeds.
We've got the hook, problem, method, results, but it all leads to that so what. Our sources really hammer this home. It's not just a summary, it's about transformation. What does that mean, transformation for the audience? How do we make sure our so what actually does that?
Right, transformation is key. Think about it with this audience transformation roadmap idea. It's about pinpointing how you want your audience to change. What do they believe, feel, or do before your talk? And what do you want them to believe, feel, or do after? Knowing that helps you choose the content that will actually create that shift. And always, always end with a clear call to action. Something specific you want them to do or know or think about.
Okay, so your story's compelling, the structure's solid. Now, how do you make it look good? Visually shine. We know people respond better to audio and visual together, but oh boy, bad slides. They can completely derail things, can't they? I've certainly seen my share.
Oh, absolutely. This brings us to image as text. Treat your visuals like language, with intention. Especially in science or technical fields, visuals are a language. People develop visual literacy. They can read charts like text. So your slides aren't just backup dancers, they're co-presenters. Their design is critical.
That's a great way to put it, co-presenters. So, practically speaking, signal-to-noise ratio. What's the golden rule there? Keep it clean.
Definitely. Less is more is the absolute golden rule. 1, maybe 2 main points per slide. And state that main point clearly. A simple sentence right at the top. That's your takeaway for that slide. Avoid,
Yeah.
that slide. The one crammed with tiny text, multiple confusing figures. It just forces the audience to split their attention trying to read and listen. It doesn't work.
Guilty as charged. I think I've made that slide before.
Yeah.
What about fonts? Typography?
Stick with sans serif. Think Arial, Helvetica, Calibri. Psychophysics research actually shows they're easier to read quickly when projected. Serif fonts, like Times New Roman, are better for print. Size. Generally 18 to 36 points is a good range. And use sentence case for titles and text. Not all CPS, it's just harder to scan quickly.
Good tip. And color, contrast. Important for accessibility too, right?
Hugely important. Keep it simple and high contrast. Plain white background, dark text black or dark blue. Or a dark background with light text white, or maybe a bright yellow. Avoid busy patterns, logos on every single slide. It's just noise. And definitely steer clear of combinations like red text on a green background or vice versa. A significant portion of the population has trouble with red-green color blindness. Aim for universal clarity.
Right. Now, I've seen lots of text-heavy slides. The thinking seems to be more text equals more emphasis. But our sources argue visuals first. Why is that shift so vital? And how do we show data clearly without just throwing up a complicated chart from a paper?
It's vital because our brains process images way faster than text. And an ideal slide has this beautiful sync. Simple statement at the top, a clear, focused visual, and your spoken explanation all aligning. For data, simplify. Take that complex figure from your paper, strip out unnecessary labels, legends, everything except the minimum essential data you'll actually explain. Then, add clear, audience-friendly labels. Use color purposefully. Maybe highlight the key finding. You, the audience member, shouldn't have to work hard to figure it out. The slide, with your guidance, should make the main point obvious.
Okay, simplifying charts make sense. What about animations? Friend or foe?
They can be a great friend, if used wisely. Use simple appear or fade animations to build content progressively. Reveal parts of a chart or bullet points as you discuss them. It keeps the audience focused on what you're saying right now, but avoid those distracting, spinning boxes or checkerboard wipes, unless the animation itself illustrates something, like a zoom. Simple is best. Just a clean cut or fade to the next slide. And the absolute rule, if you aren't going to talk about something on the slide, take it off. Seriously, it doesn't belong there. Declutter.
Okay, powerful stuff on slides. Let's shift to delivery. Confidence. We all know practice, practice, practice. But how should we practice effectively? It's not just memorizing, is it?
Not at all. The best practice involves rehearsing aloud with your slides, focusing on pacing, timing transitions, even where you'll pause or gesture. Some experts even suggest videotaping yourself. It sounds awkward, but it's invaluable feedback on posture, gestures, filler words. That kind of deliberate practice reduces the mental load when you're actually presenting, freeing you up to be more spontaneous and connect.
And nerves. We mentioned that statistic earlier. It's super common. How do you manage that adrenaline rush?
It is normal. The trick is to channel that energy. Deep breaths before you start. Consciously slow. Have water nearby. And smile. Projecting confidence, even faking it a bit initially, can actually make you feel more confident. And please, don't start by apologizing for being nervous. The audience is rooting for you.
Voice and pace seem like crucial tools. Any tips there?
Absolutely. Speak up. Be louder than you think you need to be, especially in bigger rooms or online. Vary your pace and inflection. Avoid monotone delivery. And build in breathable sections. Short pauses, a relevant anecdote, a transition point. Audience attention spans are limited, maybe 8-12 minutes for focused listening. Those little breaks help reset their focus.
What about physical presence, body language?
Hugely important for stage presence. Good posture, stand tall, shoulders back, balanced weight. Use natural, open gestures. Don't pace aimlessly or fidget. Move with purpose if you move. And eye contact, critically important. Don't talk to your notes or your slides. Scan the room. Connect briefly with individuals. It makes you, the listener, feel included and engaged, like a conversation.
Yeah, making it feel like a conversation. That seems key. So avoid reading slides verbatim. Keep the language accessible.
Definitely. Avoid reading. Use a conversational tone. If you use jargon, define it clearly and simply. Use signposting language too. Phrases like, okay, first we'll look at X, or now let's move on to Y, or to put that another way, it helps the audience follow your train of thought easily.
Makes sense. And one final point on delivery that really stood out, putting yourself into it.
Yes. This might be the most powerful thing. Share why you care. Use your own relevant stories or examples. The litmus test is, could someone else give this exact same talk? If the answer is yes, you haven't put enough of your unique perspective, your passion, into it. That personal touch is what makes it truly memorable and connects you to the audience.
All right, fantastic advice. So, we've delivered the talk. Now, the Q&A. How do we handle questions effectively and manage that time?
Right. Q&A isn't just an afterthought. It's part of the session. First, decide and tell the audience up front. Questions during or after. When a question comes, listen. Really listen. If it's unclear, ask for clarification. Could you repeat that? Or, so are you asking about X? Then repeat or rephrase the question loudly for everyone. Super important so the whole room knows what you're answering.
Good point. And the answer itself?
Yeah.
Direct it just to the questioner?
No, direct it to the whole audience. Start by making eye contact with the questioner, sure, but then broaden your gaze to include the room as you answer. Keep answers relatively brief and clear. And honestly, don't bluff. If you don't know, say so. That's a great question. I haven't looked at that specific angle, or I don't have that date on hand, but I'd be happy to follow up. You can even offer to discuss it after, or ask if anyone else in the room has insights. It's much better than making something up. I learned that the hard way once. Trying to bluff. It just felt awful.
Been there. So admitting you don't know is okay. What about managing the time?
Keep an eye on the clock, or have the moderator help. Don't let one question derail the schedule. Politely wrap it up if needed. We have time for one more question, or that's an interesting point. Perhaps we can discuss it further afterwards.
Now, here's a tip I loved from the sources. Instead of the usual thank you or acknowledgement slide during Q&A, put up your conclusion slide again. Yes. Isn't that smart? It keeps your main message visible. It helps the audience formulate better questions because the key takeaways are right there. And it gives you a visual anchor to refer back to when answering. It subtly reinforces your core points right through the Q&A. It's very audience-focused.
That's a game changer, I think. Okay, finally, let's talk efficiency. This idea of a reusable deck. It's not about being lazy, right? It's about smart prep.
Exactly, smart prep. Focus on your story first, then build simple modular slides. Use those progressive reveals we talked about. This creates flexible assets. Think about having back pocket slides, extra ones with more detail, maybe alternative data views, supporting evidence you didn't have time for in the main talk. If the question gets really specific, you might have a slide ready to pop up and illustrate your answer. Makes you look super prepared.
So build a library of core visuals, pretty much. And use tools. Online tools like Canva, contrast checkers for accessibility, even AI graphic generators can help create high-quality, consistent visuals you can adapt easily. It saves time in the long run and keeps your presentations looking polished. Work smarter.
Wow, okay. We have covered a ton today. From nailing that hook, structuring the story, designing clear slides, delivering with confidence, handling Q&A. The big takeaway seems to be moving beyond just, dumping information on people.
It really is. The true goal, the magic perhaps of a great presentation, is its power to transform the audience somehow, to shift what they believe or how they feel or what they might do next.
So the challenge for you listening is, what transformation do you want to create with your next talk? How will you apply these ideas?
We really encourage you to try these strategies out. Ask colleagues for feedback. Keep experimenting. Find what makes your presentations not just good, but truly memorable.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into making presentations shine. We genuinely hope these insights help you deliver your next message with way more confidence and real impact.